I said to my wife, "Your underwear is much too tight and very revealing." She said, "Wear your own then." Today, I'm going to recap a 2011 action comedy film called The Chaperone. The film commences by introducing a character named Raymond Bradstone. In a prison setting, Ray is found engrossed in a phone conversation with a female. However, their exchange is abruptly interrupted when a fellow inmate rudely interferes, hurling insults at Ray. Given Ray's formidable physical prowess, he could easily incapacitate the intrusive prisoner with a single blow. Several days following this incident, Ray completes his multi-year sentence and is released from the penitentiary. Prior to his departure, he gifts several books he'd been engrossed in to the prison's head officer. Once outside the prison premises, Ray queries the warden about the typical behavior of those recently released from incarceration. The warden's response indicates that most individuals tend to engage in foolish and impulsive activities post-release. Shortly after Ray's release, he is approached by a man named Larue, who had previously been his accomplice in a bank heist. Larue extends an invitation for Ray to partake in another robbery and aggressively urges him to enter a waiting vehicle. Despite his initial disregard for Larue, Ray abruptly halts and steps into the car. However, he doesn't comply with Larue's plan. Instead, he seizes the vehicle and leaves Larue stranded. As the night falls, Ray finds himself gazing at a photograph of his wife and daughter, yearning to reunite with them. His ambition is to discard his former self, embrace positive change, and live up to his responsibilities as a loving husband and father. The subsequent day, Ray pays a visit to his wife Lynne and their daughter Sally. His arrival is met with resistance from Lynne, who is reluctant to welcome him back into their lives. She perceives Ray as an unreliable figure who has failed in his duties as a husband and father. Just then, Sally returns from school and notices Ray at their doorstep. Her expression clearly demonstrates her irritation at his presence, and it's evident that she is struggling to accept him back into her life. She dismisses the stuffed bear he offers as a gift and hurriedly retreats into the house. On the following day, Ray makes an appearance at Sally's school in an effort to apologize, hoping to mend their strained relationship. Nevertheless, Sally remains disheartened by Ray's past actions and finds it hard to forgive him. Despite his attempts to reassure her of his reformation and his commitment to be a constant presence in her life, she finds his promises hard to believe and promptly leaves him standing alone. Moments later, the sound of firecrackers echoes from a distant corner. It's revealed that a skirmish has broken out amongst several students in the school corridor. Ray swiftly intervenes, separating the quarreling boys and handing them over to the school's head. Shortly after, Sally's class teacher, Miss Miller, makes her way towards him. Upon identifying himself as Sally's father, Miss Miller extends an invitation to Ray to accompany a museum tour scheduled for the following week in the capacity of a chaperone and security guard. Given his current lack of engagements, Ray seizes the opportunity to spend more time with his estranged daughter and promptly accepts the offer. Sally, however, appears irritated by this and quickly distances herself from him. Later that evening, Larue makes an unexpected appearance at Ray's apartment. He proposes a deal, stating he would withhold from reporting Ray's auto theft if Ray agrees to partake in a bank heist planned for the coming days. This proposition incenses Ray, who vehemently rejects Larue's request, primarily due to the fact that Larue had previously double-crossed him, resulting in his lengthy imprisonment. Despite Ray's refusal, Larue stubbornly continues to coerce him into joining his team, which pushes Ray to the brink of physically assaulting Larue. The following day, Ray makes another attempt to connect with Lynne and Sally by visiting them at their residence. The reception, however, remains unchanged, and he is once again turned away. To make matters worse, he is forced to witness Lynne intimately engaged with another man. It becomes evident that Lynne has moved on from Ray and now has a new partner. She requests Ray to leave, stating that neither she nor their daughter wishes to reconcile with him. Undeterred, Ray tries to assure Lynne of his intention to improve their family's circumstances. In response, Lynne highlights Ray's current situation, jobless and without financial resources, doubting his ability to bring about positive changes. Acknowledging the need to secure finances for his family's welfare, Ray embarks on a job hunt. His criminal history, however, hampers his efforts as several companies instantly reject his application upon learning of his past. Despite spending an entire day in search of employment, Ray is unsuccessful, and to compound his troubles, he returns to find his apartment engulfed in flames. Succumbing to his dire circumstances, Ray finally concedes to join Larue's criminal crew, planning the bank robbery. The next day, Larue initiates the execution of the bank heist, along with Ray and 2 additional accomplices. Ray is instructed to wait in the getaway vehicle while the others commit the robbery. As he waits, he unexpectedly spots Sally and her classmates en route to the museum for their educational tour. This sight triggers a flood of memories of happier times when he and Sally shared a close bond. The reminiscence makes Ray acutely aware of the gravity of his present actions. If apprehended, he'd face a lengthy sentence, depriving him of precious time with Sally. Consequently, Ray renounces his role in the heist, discards the car keys in a nearby shrubbery, and boards the bus carrying Sally and her peers, joining them on their educational visit to the dinosaur museum. Upon observing Ray boarding the bus, Sally attempts to dissuade him from staying, but he disregards her plea and insists on remaining on board. Simultaneously, Larue and his group successfully secure the money and hastily return to their vehicle, only to discover Ray's absence and the missing car keys. Consequently, they are forced to make a quick escape on foot, clutching the stolen money before they attract police attention. Regrettably, during their frantic escape, Larue's associate Domo gets separated from the group and inadvertently drops the money bag among a collection of school students' luggage. In his panic, Domo flees, leaving the money bag behind. Witnessing this, Larue and his accomplices express their disappointment and frustration with Domo. However, they're left with no choice but to continue their escape and evade the approaching police. As Domo continues his escape, he suddenly gets involved in a car accident, causing him to lose consciousness. Meanwhile, Larue and his remaining gang members manage to steal a car to pursue the school bus, which, unbeknownst to them, contains their misplaced loot. Unfortunately, their pursuit is cut short when they collide with a truck ahead of them. When Domo regains consciousness in the hospital, he is immediately interrogated by the police, who gather information about the bank robbery and the whereabouts of the stolen money, which is believed to be on a school bus parked near the bank. Following a few hours of travel, Ray and the students eventually reach their destination, the Dinosaur Museum. Upon learning that the scheduled tour guide is indisposed due to illness, Ray steps in to guide the group, relying on his extensive knowledge about dinosaurs, gleaned from numerous books he read during his imprisonment. Shortly thereafter, Ray spots Larue and his men arriving at the museum. He quickly instructs the students to return to the school bus, while he plans to lead Larue and his crew away and confront them in the restroom. He attempts to clarify his intentions of severing all ties with their criminal activities. However, Larue's group informs him that the stolen money is currently aboard the school bus and request him to retrieve it. After this revelation, Ray quickly boards the school bus and drives the students to their next study tour location. Upon reaching their destination, Ray inspects the contents of the bus's trunk, where he discovers the bag of stolen money. His plan is to return the money to Larue to ensure his daughter's safety. However, their exchange is interrupted by the sudden arrival of the police, prompting Larue and his men to make a swift exit. After evading the police, they encounter 3 members of the Mexican gangster and solicit their help in tracking down Ray. In the evening, Ray and the students arrive at a hotel where they plan to stay temporarily. Ray retrieves the bag of stolen money and carries it to his room. He then contacts Larue and proposes to leave the stolen money outside the hotel for him to collect. However, Larue rejects the plan due to the crowded location and the associated risks. Larue then proposed that the money be delivered to a more secluded and secure location. Seizing the opportunity before his encounter with Larue, Ray opted to spend quality time with Sally. He took her to a record store to purchase a cassette of her favorite music and treated her to a meal at a restaurant. Concurrently, detectives descended on the hotel where the students were lodged and questioned Miss Miller about Ray's location. A few hours later, as Ray was preparing to return to the hotel, he noticed several police officers patrolling the premises. Recognizing that he was now a person of interest, he disclosed the real situation to Sally and instructed her to retrieve the bag from his room. After securing the bag, Ray promptly advised Sally to return to the hotel and join the rest of the students. He was anxious to keep her out of harm's way, as Larue and his men were still at large. Unfortunately, as Sally was on the verge of entering the hotel, she was intercepted and abducted by Larue and his accomplices. Meanwhile, Ray, upon reaching the location specified by Larue, was suddenly ambushed by members of the Mexican gangster and narrowly avoided their attack. Fortunately, thanks to his combat skills, he managed to overpower the gangsters one by one with relative ease. Subsequently, Ray received a call from Larue, who revealed that he had kidnapped Sally. Enraged by this news, Ray vehemently warned Larue against harming Sally. Larue then instructed him to bring the stolen money to a clandestine location for an exchange. Ray promptly headed to the specified location in a taxi. Before disembarking, he requested the taxi driver to speed off as soon as Sally got in the vehicle. After making her escape, Sally safely returned to the hotel. However, realizing her father's perilous situation, she resolved to locate and assist him. She enlisted the help of her 3 friends, Josh, Benny, and Iqbal. Once Iqbal successfully tracked Ray's location via his cell phone, Benny created a diversion for the police using firecrackers, enabling them to exit the hotel. Meanwhile, Ray was being held captive by Larue and his men, who were enraged by the fake bag filled with a doll that Ray had used to dupe them. They subjected Ray to repeated assaults in an attempt to coerce him into revealing the hiding place of the stolen money. Despite their efforts, Ray remained silent and refused to disclose any information. Shortly after, Sally and her friends reached the location where Ray was detained and immediately dispersed to tackle Larue and his men. Simultaneously, Ray managed to contact a friend who worked as a radio announcer. Through this broadcast, the police were able to ascertain his current location. Oblivious to the fact that their conversation was being recorded, Larue openly confessed that Ray was in fact innocent and that his sole intention had been to exploit Ray all along. Simultaneously, law enforcement officials descended on the scene and promptly apprehended Larue and his henchmen. Ray was deemed innocent as he was on the school bus with the students when the crime transpired. Not long after, Lynne arrived to check on Sally's well-being. It was at this juncture that Ray was able to demonstrate to his wife that he had evolved into a dependable and improved individual. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.